What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 434 of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we'll be breaking down some of the current events, rumors, news, gossip, and everything else, to a certain extent, that went down in the world of professional wrestling over the past few days that we feel like talking about here on Monday night. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, is Robert A. Felice.
Yes. Good quarantine Tuesday, break of Tuesday to you, Tony. How are you?
How are you?
Ah!
Yeah. It's a good way to put it. It's just, all right, moving on. How are all of you doing out there in listening land? Hopefully listening land is not contagious than everything else that's going on here.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an earwax issue, but totally clear.
Drop a comment below. Tell us what you got on your mind, even if it's not related to anything on the hot tags, but especially if it is related to the hot tags. And obviously, you can't leave a comment on the things that have no comment sections. So iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify and Anchor and Google Podcasts and all that stuff. Just leave a rating if there is a rating thing on there. And hop on over to one of the things that you can leave a comment. You can do that on the page on smarkoutmoment.com. You can send me a tweet. You can post something on Facebook, or even better, you can drop a comment below on the YouTube channel page. And the page for the video itself, or I guess like there's the community thing. I never really checked that, so don't really do that because I'm never going to bother with it. But on the video itself, that's the best way of doing that. And it helps out with the video, just like a like for the video does. And if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. And while you're doing that, ring that little notification bell, because you never know exactly when things are going to pop up, including the fact that we're still trying to figure out some stuff with live streaming, and we have no idea what our main event is going to be for this week, or when, or if. Let's put it that way. So
I think it's a big if.
there's an if. What's the Simpsons quote that I love and I'm blanking on? I have been so brain dead lately, even more so than normal, that I'm making so many different mistakes. There you go, mismakes. I called Smack Talk Snack Tall the other day in the one group chat.
Hell yeah.
So not even Snack Talk, it's Snack Tall. So we talk about really tall snacks. Where was I going with this? If. Okay, yeah, the Simpsons thing. Is it long answer yes with an if, short answer no with a but? I think that's the quote that Reverend Lovejoy says. I love it. It's some kind of variation of that. It's a long answer yes with a but, or one of those kind of things. I love it, and I'm blanking on it now, so it doesn't show that I really love it all that much if I can't remember it. But that's this is the new normal. So it's 1 a.m. on Tuesday, technically.
I'll give you a Simpsons quote. Just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand. and I think that really sums up how we're all doing. We are about 3 minutes into this. We have not even scratched the surface of the wild world of wrestling.
No, not at all. And I'm sure later on I'm going to end up thinking of some Simpsons quotes that even fit better the idea of just give up kind of things and whatever. But we got some wrestling stuff to talk about. We have some AEW stuff, some WWE stuff, a little bit on the sidelines, a little bit of some review content, some talking about the WWE Network, and, any kind of decisions, any kind of topics. That's not even close to the word decisions. Oh my God. Any other kind of topics, discussions is the word I was thinking of, that we think about on the fly, like the fact that I can't remember what words are. We'll do that too. So that's why there's always the random topics and discussion part of this, because you never know what we're going to talk about. We might talk about Snack Tall or something.
I like the big gulps.
Big gulps, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Tall.
Well, see you later. 10 points, anybody gets the quote reference. Let's talk about well, let's just do this one, because this one's, we could go on and on and on about this topic, and why the fuck not? I'm labeling it as the ever constant series of changes to WrestleMania 36, because as we have gone on the past couple of days since we've done the previous hot tags, they have changed a couple things. They've added things. They've changed the things that they've added. They've altered things that they've changed that they've added, and nobody knows what's going on at this
Well,
point.
let's start here. When we were talking last week, was it even 2 nights yet?
I think it might have been, but it might not have been. At the very least, I don't think they had confirmed at that point that there were now multiple locations for it.
Have they confirmed that themselves, or are we still going by what Dave Meltzer reported?
I have seen a bunch of different types of things from different outlets, and I don't know how much those are 100% trustworthy, but I don't think that WWE's specifically said it yet. Yet the rumors going around are that they already filmed something for WrestleMania with John Cena and Bray Wyatt, and that's going to be like kind of like movie produced. So I guess it's going to be kind of like the House of Hardcore, or wait, what was it called?
It's the final deletion. You're thinking House of Horrors.
House of Horrors, yeah. House of Hardcore's Tommy Dreamer's
It's more like the final deletion. Now, if you want to get right into that, let's just get right into it, Tony. Let's just jump into it. AJ Styles Undertaker is now being dubbed a boneyard match.
So are they going to just play that elephant level in the Super Nintendo version of the Lion King game?
Yes.
That's maybe how they just do it. They just set it up, and since AJ Styles doesn't do well with that, he'll just break his controller.
Yeah.
And that's how Undertaker will win. Yeah. Boneyard match? I mean, I don't know. What the hell's a boneyard match, you know? I'm assuming that that's another thing that they're filming. Like,
yeah, this is another theatrical type of film. Hey, we might, honest to God, we might get a very cinematic WrestleMania.
And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing.
I don't either.
You know, WrestleMania is already weird enough. They've got this tagline now, too big for one night. WWE loves their first time ever things. So the big selling point of this random ass match that they announced tonight of Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley was those guys are fighting, and it's the first time ever. And I was like, I'm gonna bash my TV. like I'm just gonna, and I don't even have anything I'm gonna bash it with. I'm gonna ram my head through it and just solve two problems with the one thing. But that's the thing. Yeah, just I'm more and more Frank Grimes every single day. Just give me the fucking thing to grab with my hands, and you know my famous last words will be, "'Cause I'm Homer Simpson."
You wish.
Some kind of farm animal, anyway.
So it's Aleister Black, Lashley thing. What you know what this reminded me of? You remember, like, of course you do, because you're old enough. Like back when WrestleMania used to just have like random matches, and Mean Gene Okerlund would just announce from Control Center, "My God, they've announced another big matchup for WrestleMania. It's Greg Valentine versus Earthquake." Like, that's what this feels like.
Yeah, just like, you know, you look at the older cards and you've got maybe 2 draws of a match, especially if you go pre if you go like pre WrestleMania 10, because I think 10's when they started to change it a little bit like that. But like, well, you know, maybe even 9 has like, was it Tito versus HBK?
No, that's 8.
So who's Michael's fight at WrestleMania 9?
Tatanka.
Tatanka?
Tatanka.
Huh. Wow, I don't remember that. But yeah, that seems like that's just one of those things. It's just a thing. And like, you know, they would have some feuds. Like, obviously, like Savage and Warrior was a feud going into it, and certain other things. But then they would do that kind of thing where it's just like, all right, we're gonna start things off here, and it's gonna be the Quebecers against I don't know,
the not Quebecers.
Strike Force or something.
But yeah, it very much feels like that. I don't want to knock it too much, because part of me likes the idea of a return to that in a weird way. Like,
none of me does.
What if we just get to a point where, you know, not everything is going to be a big story, and that's okay. Instead of trying to force a story in like Sasha and Bailey, where we're gonna try to force this just because we need a story going into a match.
Well, we'll obviously be talking if WrestleMania goes on. We'll be talking our predictions here and there.
What a world! The man said, "If WrestleMania goes on."
Yeah.
I mean,
it sounds crazy.
It's being taped on tomorrow and Thursday, reportedly.
Because they taped some stuff this past weekend for the Raw and all that stuff, right?
2 SmackDowns and 2 205 Lives on Saturday, I believe.
And obviously, they're going to do a lot of things like they did tonight, where we'll talk about with the Raw thing. Never mind. I'll go back to that point later. So they taped those 2 things. They taped, I'm pretty sure that they taped some stuff for main event too.
Some Raw, some main events. And I believe Wednesday, Thursday will be all about making sure Mania is in the can. Which is so weird.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at like the graphics and they've taken out like streaming live Saturday and Sunday, whatever it is, just streaming Saturday and Sunday, which, okay, like you're not false advertising, that kind of stuff and all that, which is fine. Like that's cool. It's the right smart move and everything. And I'm not against this pre-taping stuff either. I think that they should. I think it's the smart way to go about things.
100%. It's just so, like,
it's just strange.
As a fan, it's just bizarre. Like, if you would have told me, oh, hey, if you had something when we were talking about TLC in December, oh, hey, Edge and Randy Orton is totally going to happen at WrestleMania, and it's going to be a last-minute standing match. Okay, awesome. In front of nobody. That's pre-taped. What?
Yeah. I'd be like, no, it's okay. It's just going to follow the Boneyard match. What?
Oh, don't worry. It's going to be followed by Goldberg versus Roman. What?
For the Universal Championship.
Which is also in front of nobody. What?
Crap. Go back to October with the SmackDown on Fox. When Brock Lesnar beats Kofi Kingston for the title and be like, yeah, okay, he beat him for the WWE Championship on SmackDown. Fast forward a little bit, and it's going to be Goldberg holding the Universal Championship, which is blue, that he won from The Fiend, who had a Fiend-style title belt going into, against Roman Reigns, doing all this kind of stuff and whatever like that, and then be like, so what other matches are on the card? Oh, that Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens feud that's been going on for a little bit, or that? Wait, no, that wasn't October. That was November. Be like, oh, they're gonna feud for the next like 6 months, and they're gonna build to a singles match.
Yep.
Oh, they're gonna do Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. Oh, does Bobby Lashley have a feud with Aleister Black following the Rusev thing? Oh no, the Rusev thing doesn't end. It's just we're having this match. Oh, so how does the Rusev thing, how does that go? Well, Lana comes in and she says that she's the one that was with, Liv Morgan comes in and she's the one that she wants to be with Lana and all that stuff. And then they just drop that too. And then we get the Riot Squad and, oh, we're getting the Riot Squad at WrestleMania? Nah. No, they all got taken out at the beginning of the Elimination Chamber. Oh, at the beginning? No, not the beginning. They didn't bother to have them at the beginning. They waited a little bit for Liv Morgan, and she just said, "Oh fuck," in the middle of the Elimination Chamber, and be like, "Dude, what are you explaining to me? This is insane."
It's what it feels like. This is fucking hysteria.
It's we're in the worst timeline. It seems. But even when it comes to these changes that we've gotten, like they announced today, Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley, which we'll talk about how much that's just kind of pointless and everything later on. But they announced that we're getting the Raw tag team titles are on the line between the Street Profits against Angel Garza and Andrade. And
as weird as it is, I like that one.
I don't dislike it either. There's things I don't like about it that, like, I got to do extra work and all the other kind of things that go along with that. But like, the idea behind it, I don't dislike. But then they also kind of announced, kind of didn't announce a change that they had announced from SmackDown. We didn't talk about SmackDown, but if you didn't watch SmackDown, they had a segment where Paige was on Skype, and her whole point of her being that she was supposed to be on SmackDown, and they just did it through the whole via Skype thing, was to say, I'm going to announce your match, which is why. And your match is a 6-pack challenge. And your 5 opponents are Lacey Evans and Dana Brooke and Naomi and Tamina and Sasha Banks. Now,
You know, it was super awkward, and I really a couple of things with this page thing. First of all, personal note as a reporter, Mike Johnson reported. By the way, Paige wasn't at SmackDown. Yeah, no shit, pal. She Skyped in. There's no reason to believe that they faked a Skype call. Second of all, how awkward must it have been for those three to have to do a spot where Paige is like, yeah, and Bailey, you become quite a, oh, I get it, you're bad Bailey. Yeah, it's so funny. And then Bailey goes, oh, why don't you come do something about it? Oh, wait, you can't, in front of nobody. How fucking, weird must that have been for them? Especially because, I know it was personal for Sasha that it was her move that accidentally ended Paige's career.
yeah,
How fucking weird is that for everybody?
especially because you get no reaction, like you said. So you're not even getting anything out of it, really. But they announced this, and I thought it was really funny that Tamina's name gets brought up, and Paige is like, she didn't even work here anymore. It's like, yeah, it's pretty true. Like, oh, it's Tamina in the match. Okay, like that kind of thing. And since then, we've gotten something up on WWE.com that is contradictory of that. Now it seems like it may or may not be a fatal 5-way, and that Dana Brooke may be out of the match. So they announced it on Friday, and by middle of the afternoon on Monday, it's that she may be out of it, but we don't know because they have a graphic uploaded without Dana Brooke. They have a URL where the hyperlink itself says Fatal 5-way, yet the links all go back to 6-pack challenge and they all reference the 6-pack challenge and all that, and there's been no declaration of what's the difference. So maybe Dana Brooke's in, maybe Dana Brooke's out. I had originally thought when Rob sent me this message about hey, Dana Brooke might be out of the match or whatever, I was like, oh, maybe they realized their mistake and they're putting Carmella in there, which I don't know why they wouldn't just take Tamina out, but But it turns out that Carmella and Corey, the reason why they haven't been on is because they're in Pennsylvania. They didn't go to Orlando. They're in Pittsburgh or whatever. I think it's Pittsburgh. So that's why Carmella hasn't been a part of this, and that's why Carmella's not in this match. So now you have to wonder, why did they take Dana Brooke out? Did Dana Brooke get sick? Did they realize that they just didn't want Dana Brooke in the match? Or is it a matter of not having as many people and you got to take somebody out because of regulations? We have no idea. I don't think that it would have been a situation where they would have taken her out of the match for a storyline reason. Because at that point, why bother? There is no storyline to this. This is the most lackadaisical thing they could have possibly booked. But until we know any more information, we got to just be like, Dana Brooke may or may not be out for reasons that we don't know, which is just question marks on top of question marks.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. This is wild. This is some out of nowhere shit. Dana Brooke's out of the match. I saw some people offended that Dana Brooke was taken out of the match. If they just decided, if they woke up and were like, yeah, fuck Dana, 5-way. So there's some people who think like that. Obviously, there's concerns that she might have COVID-19. We cannot speculate to that. It's just a mess. I just want to get through WrestleMania. Is that fair, Tony?
No, I mean, I want to not even just get through WrestleMania. I just want to skip until all this is over. I really pretty much genuinely, I'm the type of person who, I'm going to go in a dark path right now, but, every once in a while, I'll go ahead and do that on a thing. no matter how depressing things get for anything, I've never been the type of person that's ever been like, oh, I'd rather just never be here, that kind of thing. Because to me, it's always like, well, there's always something potentially good going on. And I'm not super optimistic, and I'm not, glass half full all the time, farting out rainbows and all that kind of shit. But, it's like, well, at least like the next day, maybe I'll eat some banging tortellini. Or,
I like tortellini.
that's so good. I gotta eat that soon. Or, like, oh, I got like this movie coming up that I'm interested in seeing. Can't do that right now, but you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of thing. But I'm like, I don't think that there's going to be anything over the next like month that I'm really going to be missing out on if I were to like go to sleep and just wake up a month from now. So like, kind of want that to happen. You know what I mean? I kind of want to just skip forward. And it's not like, if we get past WrestleMania, then the work is going to be not as crazy anymore. Or at least at that point, then it'll be question marks and we'll figure things out. Whatever. I'm like, I want this whole thing to be over with. I just want to skip to like my birthday or something, unless it's worse. If it's worse by then, if we're in the end of June and it's being a problem, then, let's hang on to every minute before it gets to hell, even more so.
Exactly.
Like,
now, how do you feel? We're gonna quick plug for Fanboys Anonymous. If you don't know, Fanboys Anonymous is the geek culture side of things. I don't know why I'm plugging it. It's his site. But how do you feel about stuff like Onward being released like less than a month after its theater debut on video on demand and Disney Plus on April 3rd, and the rumors that Wonder Woman 1984 might be getting a straight to digital release?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I didn't think Wonder Woman 1984 would be all that good to begin with, so I'm not going to be like, I'm missing out on the theatrical experience of a movie that seems to revolve around, isn't the 80s hot topic right now, and wouldn't it be fun if people had magic? And
I like the 80s.
I love the 80s. Strikes Back.
Damn it, I was going to do
it. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we could bring this up in the kind of spin that out of that. WWE is allowing free access to WWE Network content for quote unquote a limited amount of time. And they've I'll read the report really quickly. Not as quick as the dude that used to do those old commercials, but I'll give it a shot. Beginning today, WWE is pleased to unlock a vast portion of the WWE Network library and extend free access to thousands of hours of extraordinary on-demand content, including every WrestleMania in history, countless pay-per-view spectaculars, original documentaries, and more for a limited time. So that's a key. Limited time, obviously. They're not going to do this forever. This unprecedented offering, blah, blah, blah. Each epic installment to date of WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, NXT TakeOver, NXT UK TakeOver, WWE 24, Broken Skull Sessions, Ruthless Aggression, the Monday Night War series, recent episodes of Raw and SmackDown, every episode of Untold, the FCW story documentary, and then quote unquote, much, much more. We've already doubled down with a historic WrestleMania, blah, 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 whatever. So they're basically saying, we're going to let people log into the network and watch that while they're home. And they're not going to be able to watch everything. I highly doubt that they're going to get access to the current WrestleMania through this, but they might. And I think that this is a really good idea.
I think it's something that all streaming services should do, so I can cancel my subscriptions for a little bit. I pay $9.99 at least for a lot of things. Netflix is up to $14. I don't know how much you're paying for Netflix a month. Probably $0. Are you paying for Netflix, Tony?
No, I'm using Caroline's.
Oh, Christ.
I mean,
Well, Caroline's his wife. Government. I pay $9.99 way too much. I would like more subscription services to do this. But I'd also like the network to revert back to its old form, because I think the new network sucks. You took away my autoplay feature. You took away collections, which were the most fun thing on the network. because it had like, here's a random collection of everything covering the NWO versus Sting. And that's good.
You know what
Now
else they
you're
took
just
away?
like, what's that?
Access to the network in Saudi Arabia.
Ayo!
Yeah, apparently that's a thing. Somebody tweeted out saying like, hey, I'm in Saudi Arabia. How come I can't log into the network? And the response was, WWE Network is not available in Saudi Arabia until further notice.
So I have additional information on this, courtesy of Jeremy Lambert of Fightful.com. Their contract with OSN ran out. They signed a 5-year deal in 2015, and they have not signed a new MENA deal, to redistribute the network in the Middle East, which has been talked about a lot in recent conference calls. How can you build to Crown Jewel if there is no Saudi Arabian deal? They won't even know. By the time they get there, they're going to be like, why isn't Mansoor already champion?
Well, to be fair, I don't think Crown Jewel is going to need any kind of build when it comes to that. That's if we have Crown Jewel. When we have Crown Jewel. All that stuff. But I do like the idea that they're at least, outside of Saudi Arabia, it seems, allowing access to the network for people. Because, people are stuck at home, and there's going to be a certain point where they've watched a whole bunch of movies on Netflix, and they've checked out things on Hulu, and, there's going to be people that are like, I'm going to get into the WWE side of things and all that. And giving them access to some of that stuff could potentially win some new customers in the future. Maybe somebody watches the WrestleManias or the Royal Rumbles and they're like, oh, there is a WrestleMania coming up. You know what? I'll do that for $10. Maybe they'll just bump that number up a little bit that way. What am I going to do on a Saturday and this Sunday? Oh, for $10, $5 a night. Oh, we'll get the family together and watch WrestleMania. That could be a good way to get them.
Don't get the family too close, though. Social distance.
Yeah. Now we're also gonna go back to the way that it used to be, where it's like don't sit too close to the screen too.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing in the slightest bit. Like I can't think of a single reason that this would be a bad thing, because it's gonna either get them some new customers, and or it at least shows that they're trying to do something that's like positive. So it's good for the brand itself to just be like, hey, look, you're stuck at home. Here's some wrestling content for free. That never hurts.
What have you been watching whilst quarantined?
I haven't. I have been far too busy. I've been busier doing stuff than I have been if it wouldn't have been this whole quarantine thing. And I'm envious of everybody.
And only you and I can relate to that. Well, at least among our circle.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a good portion of today trying to set up a new phone, or a refurbished phone of my phone breaking on, what was it, Friday or something? I think
Wednesday. We were gonna do the recording.
Is Wednesday when that's been almost a week?
Yep.
Holy shit! Time flies when you're not having fun. Yeah, I mean, we were trying to do that, and my phone ended up having the vibration sensor ended up breaking or something. So I'm like going through that. I'm trying to set that up today. The WrestleMania is changing all over the place and all this. So I'm like, normally I'm on a daily basis, I'm behind schedule by the end of the day, even if I work pretty much the entire day. And then at this time of the year, it ends up getting worse and all that. So I'm pretty much a couple of years behind where I want to be. And now I'm getting to the point where now I'm like, okay, each day I'm ending the day 2 days behind schedule.
So by the time we get out of this, you're going to be like half a decade behind where you want to be.
Probably, if not more, depending on how long all this stuff goes. Or it might be in a situation where I might just be like, hey, you know what's fun? Fuck it. and then you'll get messages where it's like, yeah, well, no Monday Night Raw coverage anymore because fuck it, that's why. And, the Twitter accounts will be like, you know what, tweeting's fun when you're bored. Why not? And it might be that kind of thing or something. But if that happens, I'll do stuff on the fun side of things. I'll be like, it won't be, fuck it, I'll sit in a room and eat Cheetos and do nothing else. It'll be more so of, hey, you know what? I want to do a marathon of James Bond movies and do watch-alongs, and I'm going to do it, or something like that. Like, might end up being the case. As I mentioned before, we are trying to get live streaming figured out. So that's something else that in my quote unquote free time of being days and years and months and lifetimes behind, uh, we're going to try to figure that stuff out. So we might actually sometime tomorrow do some testing for that if anybody's interested in joining in and helping us figure out some testing.
I
And
would like to do a live watch along of like an in your house pay-per-view. And if that interests you, you should donate to the Patreon. Patreon.com/SmarkOutMoment. Every single penny helps. I'm sure Tony would attest to that.
look at Rob with the smooth transitions to the plugs that I'm forgetting to do.
Damn right. I am
Yeah.
here to be your brain today, sir.
Patreon is a vast network that I don't know where I'm going with this. It's a thing. You know what it is. But if you don't know what it is, Patreon is there to help out with the fluctuating or completely gone YouTube algorithm that exists out there. Thankfully, it's not completely gone for us, but we did have a whole entire month where it was completely gone. So if you do enjoy what we're doing here, and you do have the spare change, because obviously with all the stuff going on, things are even harder for everybody, and I completely understand that. But if you got a buck to spare and you want to toss it our way, that is greatly, greatly appreciated. And especially if you go higher up on the other different tiers, $5 gives you at least the peace of mind of ad block forgiveness, because it's like, all right, well, yeah, okay. You can put your ad block or you block Origin or something on, and I won't think anything lesser of you. $10 though gives you access to the dark casts, and we are gonna do some more of those here and there. And $10 and up gives you the dark cast thing. So it's like, you're not, if you donated the $20 thing, you wouldn't be like, oh, I lose access to the dark cast. No, same thing. Mailbag priority is part of that. We're not doing a mailbag. Maybe, I don't know. We had plans to have other things that we might necessarily not be able to do. So maybe we bump up the quarter one mailbag or something. I don't know. But we also have the Pick Your Poison tier, and Pick Your Poison is something that Guest 5 in particular, as well as Marco, has taken advantage of in the past, where you can request something that you specifically want us to do. So, for instance, we just recently did the 25th special breaking down our points adjustments for Superstar scores, and I know that people were interested in us doing that again. And if you want us to do a Superstar scores for somebody, and you want to take advantage of the Pick Your Poison tier, that's how you do it. So that applies to that and for fanboysanonymous.com. So if you do want us to do watch along things or fan tracks or fan announce tables for the matches, or, group meeting podcasts or reviews for different movies or something like that, maybe even just more live streams too. Like, that's another option. If we get this up and running and we get this figured out to where we could just goof off and do that stuff, people might be like, you know what, you should do another live stream and just have another Smack Talk Scramble, or whatever the equivalent would be for fanboys. I don't think I have a name for it yet, but
Fanboys fracas.
I'm sure I'll think of some kind of a name if I don't have it already. In the meantime, I probably will double check my segments list, because I might have some kind of thing like that. I think I had something labeled before. It was like open mic night or something like that, but that's just kind of a generic name, so maybe it wasn't that. Open mic night is a list of that. Cram session is something. I don't know. Maybe fanarchy. There you go. That. Or it's just anything can happen. It's fanarchy. There you go. It's other ways for me to use the name, the word fan in the middle of things. Just beat that drum. But yeah, we got lots of different options. So if you want us to do more of that stuff, hit up the Patreon and show us some love, and we love you back. It's also the merchandise shops. Might as well fucking plug that while I'm at it. TeePublic, Redbubble for A Mango Tees, Smark Out Moment, and Fanboys Anonymous. I've got some coronavirus shirts that actually got approved. I sent about 20 something in, and they approved like 6 of them. So if you are somebody who wants to buy a shirt that says anti-social distance, or I'm a pro at social distancing or whatever, then pick up a shirt.
I might have to get that one.
I'm still annoyed that they didn't take my my parody of the Corona logo with the little virus. I think that was a good one.
You gotta let time pass.
And I still think that they should have allowed my parody of the 2K logo, where it's COVID 2K19.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm going to hell already. I might as well just speed up the ride. Let's talk about AEW. because we a couple days have passed by since different things, and one of the things that had passed by was NXT and Dynamite. Now we can't really talk about NXT because NXT was just a bunch of interviews. So
Ciampa and Gargano mostly.
Ciampa Gargano for an hour and 15 minutes or so. Then it was the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair thing, or no, that was the end of it because the middle section was Finn Balor. So that was I hate to criticize the current era because I feel like that's being rude and like spoiled and selfish, to be like
Right.
this episode of NXT sucked, but it sucked. And this next week they're at least advertising that Triple H is going to like chastise Ciampa and Gargano, and I'm kind of hoping that this comes out as one of these like dad isn't mad, he's just disappointed types of things.
Fuck it. Fight him.
Fight Triple H?
Yeah.
The two of them team up against Triple H.
Like, what are they doing? Fight them. Just do something interesting. Like, have them take out Triple H and then go right back to fighting each other.
I'm still part of me still like
we're healthy. We get Triple H and Shawn Michaels against.
Yeah, we got to do that at some point.
Yeah, like, fuck it.
Pass the torch, But that is not the biggest focal point. The biggest focal point's the AEW Dynamite episode, and we were talking about this before because it's been apparently half of a week or more than half of a week, and we were both in agreement. Sorry, that Dynamite was so much better to watch than what these empty performance center shows were, just by having a couple people in the crowd.
Yep, and I think WWE took some notes by the way that they shot their show. They faced the camera towards the entranceway, which I think made it better in terms of presentation. But Dynamite, just by having 6 people in the audience, it seems so much more alive.
Mm-hmm.
And they had empty arena pyro, which was kind of dumb. And, it almost hit Jungle Boy in the face.
Oh, did I didn't notice that.
Yeah, while he's on Luchasaurus' shoulders, one of the fireworks just goes right over his face.
Oof.
It's like, oof. I liked it. I liked MJF betting on the matches with Sean Spears.
Yeah.
I liked that Sean Spears had a little bit of personality. I liked Colt Cabana and Kip Sabian getting into it. And Cabana slaps him and says, "You act like I'm not a wrestler." I just thought that was so good. Like, why wouldn't I hit you back?
Right. You're in a contact sport. It's not like you're picking on, I don't know, the guy who does your taxes or something like that.
You had Jake the Snake cut a promo. You had
the Lance Archer thing where he's beating up a bunch of backyard wrestlers.
Beating up some like backyard wrestlers and little people, and it looks like Swamp Thing, but Jake the Snake is just sort of watching from a rocking chair. That shit is Tiger King before Tiger King, like good shit from AEW. And then of course you get Brodie Lee, who's the Exalted One, which
for anybody who doesn't know, Brodie Lee is Luke Harper.
I liked him continuing to look at the light, like that's carry on from the Wyatt family stuff, and I just like, what is this man's fascination with the light?
And he had a really good little jab where he said something like, "You're not the first out of touch old man that didn't believe in me that I'm going to prove wrong," or something like that.
Right.
So that was a nice little dig at Vince. And we got Matt Hardy debuting. He is going to be replacing Nick Jackson in the Blood and Guts match, which has been postponed for right now.
Indefinitely. So he might not even replace Nick Jackson. Because I think if it's 5 months later and Nick Jackson is still injured, he needs more help than they're giving him.
Is Nick Jackson actually injured?
His wife had a baby.
Okay, yeah, it's the thing. Because I'm like, I didn't think that was the case. I thought that they wrote him out because of the baby. But yeah, I mean, they could get around it and they could do something else where they could have something like Jackson's able to come back and Hangman decides that he doesn't want to be a part of it, or I mean, they can play around with things like that, or somebody else could get taken out, or they could just whatever. But like, Matt Hardy, he makes his debut with Vanguard 1.
Yeah.
It's like
Fun social media carryover here. So everybody was expecting Matt Hardy to be the Exalted One. And I thought it was too obvious at this point. I like the Brodie Lee swerve. But right after that, or right as actually that segment's going on, Matt Hardy drops his final Free the Delete video. Because now everybody knows he's not the Exalted One, so what's next? So he just does a video where it ends with him saying, Vanguard 1, take me to my Arcadia. No mention of AEW or anything. And by the end of the night, Vanguard 1 drops him in the ring, and Hardy is in the balcony. Good shit.
Now, I'm not some super big fan of the broken Matt Hardy gimmick. I think that it's kind of a joke that has passed by already, and it's lost its vigor. But
I agree with you, and I'll get more into that in a second.
But this is still pretty neat, and it's strange that like, we couldn't get these big pops for people because it's not like, oh man, it's Brodie Lee, it's the Exalted One, and like, wow, Matt
Worked out
Hardy's in the
better for
crowd and
Brodie.
whatever. But it's still fun, and it's still something that's good, and I actually really enjoyed this episode of Dynamite.
I think it worked out better for Brodie. Because you would have had immediate, we want Hardy,
That's true.
And I think once Brodie came, he would have gotten the pop because, yeah, fuck WWE, And I think it worked out better. He came off more menacing, not being with an audience. Hardy could have gotten the pop, but I think it still worked out pretty well. Now, I agree with you with the Broken Matt thing. I kind of feel like he's maybe relying too heavily on the Broken Matt gimmick. Like, yeah, that was cool, but I think part of what made it cool was that you got in, changed the game, and got out. You didn't linger with the broken stuff. I Brock Lesnar rule mentally the woken Matt Hardy stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't count that. But I think you got in and got out, and I hope they don't run it into the ground here.
I'd like to see him do something different. That's different, not the same. That's different.
Like,
you know
what?
I mean?
What would you do with Matt Hardy?
I don't know, because I never would have thought about the broken thing to begin with. So, like, he's more creative about that than I am, and I'll give him, all the credit in the world when it comes to that. But I don't know. I'd rather him play a different type of character because he went from like he was like one of the Hardy Boys, then he went to the whole version 1, and he does the
and then for a while he was just like Matt Hardy.
Yeah, he's just Matt Hardy. Then he feuds with Jeff, and he's the Black Cloud, and that didn't really work all that well. But I really liked the name at the very least. And he goes and does the whole broken thing, and comes back, and he's Matt Hardy again, whatever. And it's like, well, I'd like to see some new gimmick or something eventually down the line. I mean, right now, like, they're gonna go with the thing that people know, so I don't blame him for that. But I think like this isn't new, so its value doesn't have that same type of thing. Kind of like, to draw a weird comparison to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If they were to announce like, okay, we got a couple new movies, and one of our new movies is, say, when they actually put it this way, the things that they already did, when they announced that there was the Eternals, and it was like, the Eternals, okay, I don't really know what the Eternals is, but that might be kind of neat, whatever. And then they're like, well, we're gonna do the X-Men, and we're gonna do Fantastic Four, and we're gonna do Blade, and whatever. Then I'm like, part of me, as much as I'm excited to see what the new X-Men is and stuff, part of me's like, I don't know anything about the Eternals. I think I'd rather see that than Blade. Like, Blade's Blade.
I'll give you a good one for, I think, the success of the broken character. Guardians of the Galaxy. When that was announced, it was like really like, all right, we're gonna try to push beyond what is firsthand knowledge of Marvel superheroes. And then it took off. And then I think that was like proof of concept of, all right, you're about to get every fucking thing under the sun.
Yeah.
And with the broken stuff, it started out as a really bad TNA angle that was kind of chopped together because they had to shoot from their house. And then it became the final deletion, and it was, oh my god, this is so weird, but amazing. And then it became like, all right, this is getting a little out of control. And they left. But it was like, oh, Matt Hardy should be broken all the time because it's so creative. And I think there is a thing, and anybody out there, feel free to tell me, no, I'm dead wrong. But I do think that there is this thing of like, it's great because it's not a WWE thing.
Oh yeah. That's why people, some people, not everybody, but that's one of the reasons why some people didn't like the Woken thing. Now, of course, there's differences when it comes to the idea that, like, well, he didn't have the creative freedom, and they didn't do this, and like Woken and Broken, like, did you really need to change it to Woken? And all either it's not like a one shot kind of thing, but it's also like there's people that never would have given it a chance in WWE either. Like, if they would have done the exact same things, there's people that would have been like, I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Fair. I feel like that was a 2016 thing, and I wish he would have done a little bit of something new.
Hopefully,
Fair?
having more creative control means that he will try to figure out some different ways to change it up. But if we get, because I think we're getting what, Jericho against him this week?
We're getting Jericho confronting him.
Okay, so I don't want it to be like the same promo that we've heard where he's just like, I'm going to delete you and blah 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 and this is that and the same kind of thing, and then hey, remember Senior Benjamin and like whatever, and just sort of like a remember this, remember that from a couple of years ago. I don't want that. Like, so it's neat in concept. I'm glad that Matt Hardy's in an area where he can express himself more, and I just hope that he actually expresses more than what he just has done before. I don't want, I guess here's another equivalent. Comedians, when they have a joke that catches on, and then they only do that joke. So, like, I'm a huge fan of Jim Gaffigan from his Comedy Central Presents and stuff. But once that Hot Pocket thing caught on, he became the Hot Pocket guy.
Oh, but then it becomes like that becomes the bit that everybody's waiting for, right?
Yeah, it's the
Like
I didn't do it kid.
like Dana Carvey.
Chopping
The whole
broccoli.
yeah, oh my. First of all, that right there, that encompasses my humor. Like that to me is hysterical, but then it becomes Dana Carvey is just milking you, so when he says chopping broccoli, you're gonna mark out.
Mm-hmm. So if you watch a Lewis Black special from back in the day, Lewis Black told jokes. And then eventually they're like, can you go on the,
Candy corn.
not the Tonight Show. Oh my God, what's the name of that show? Jim Stewart. Daily Show.
Jon Stewart.
The Daily Show, can you go on there and just be angry all the time and just yell? You don't even need to really say anything. You could just yell, and that's the whole point. And then people are like, look at that. The guy yells. Or like Larry the Cable Guy becomes,
You're a redneck. No, it's
he's
Jeff Foxworthy.
like Dan something or whatever is his actual name. And he's like, I'm going to play a character called Larry the Cable Guy. And eventually I'm going to say, hey, get her done.
Get her done.
And then people are like, that's funny. Just do that. And then it becomes, okay, this dude's forever just like, hey, I'm Larry the Cable Guy. Get her done. And then you're just like, all right, this guy can't tell jokes now because that's whatever. So it's like, I'm afraid that Matt Hardy in AEW is just going to be, remember what I used to do before? That, but in AEW. Instead of taking it to the next level, where somebody like Brodie Lee, I'm like, all right, he might be able to do something outside of the Wyatt family. And if he just does Wyatt family, but I'm the leader, that'll suck.
I think he should definitely play to his Wyatt family past of like, I got tired of being the follower. I think there's a good thing there. But he's working with a skeleton crew of, sorry if any AEW wrestlers listen to this, but he's working with a skeleton crew of scrubs. And I want to see more from the Dark Order now that they have their main guy.
At least they've got a guy who's good. Because I am not an Evil Uno fan to make him like this big top star main eventer, leader of a stable type. Now in a tag team situation, okay. Same with Stu Grayson. Like, I don't see him being the AEW World Champion in a year. But tag team scenario, fine. Brodie Lee, I'm like, okay, if you want to give him a shot at a title, I can buy it.
Is
Makes
there,
sense.
at some point we're going to get, maybe even at Full Gear, we're going to get Moxley versus Brodie Lee for the belt. And that's just super weird to me.
That's going to be some balls to the wall, beat the living shit out of each other type of match.
But it's like, hey, it's the Shield and the Wyatt family, but it's a new company and these guys are on top. And it's like, you couldn't have told me that this was going to be a thing. But I love it. I like what they're doing here. I like what Lee is doing. I like that Hardy is happy. And I hope he does get to express his creativity and his individuality. And somebody else that is expressing their individuality is Matt's brother Jeff, who announced on the bump that his No More Words theme is going to be coming back.
Which is pretty cool, because I like that theme. I love
that theme.
I like the normal Hardy Boys theme, the generic production music thing that they've...
You're watching Spike TV.
They've used it in other things. I've seen it on like a Six Flags commercial and stuff before even. I do like that better, but No More Words is a very good tweak on that.
I think it's better for Jeff.
It makes him seem like he's more of a single star, so that's good.
It's a better distancing from Matt than Twist of Fury. That's right, I said it's the Twist of Fury.
Yeah. Power Rangers, how they redid them? Where they started adding all those weird graphics.
Uh-huh.
What if they did that in WWE? Like, right then, when Michael Cole was trying to get it over that it's a Twist of Fury, that it just pops up on the screen and it's like the Batman, Pal Zam, like that kind of thing. It's just like Twist of Fury, and it's like, you see like behind it Twist of Fate, but it's like that they've crossed out Fate and wrote Fury over it like a stamp.
I could totally see that. The visual I have in my head is actually very like Sin City comic-y, and it looks cool.
So I'm just picturing the POW type of thing, but it just says Twist of Fury, and it's like, hey, it's a Twist of Fury, Twist of Fury, Twist of Fury, Twist of Fury. Not Twist of Fate. 1, 2, 3. That kind of thing. Yeah, I like that he's going to bring this back. And he revealed it on the bump, which I guess let's talk about that for a moment. They did do an episode of the bump, and they did do an episode of WWE Backstage, kind of. Because
they did? I know they did the bump, but I didn't know they did Backstage.
Yeah, the bump was Matt Camp and Evan Mack. And I mean, that show for the most part is gathering people through like Skype type stuff. So they should be able to do that, unless it's like, well, everything gets closed down and you can't bring any production people to do anything. Then it's a different story. But what they were able to do, though, was outside of filling in the gaps with a little bit of material with like the Sasha Banks thing, to just show that again, whatever like that. Like, they were able to interview people, and I think that works out pretty well. So it's like, hey, good. Like, the bump is continuing, even though I'm not the hugest fan. Backstage, what they did, which was very strange, they had Paige and Renee Young on Skype, but instead of just having a discussion, because they're a discussion show, they watched 2 of Paige's matches.
I like that.
Or actually, I don't think they watched 2. I'm blanking on the one of them now. They watched Paige versus Emma from the NXT first show.
Arrival.
But I'm blanking on what the other one was. I think that the other one might have been
AJ?
Becky and Sasha and Charlotte from Mania. Yeah, that's what it was. So Paige was not involved in that one. But they watched them and they did a watch along type of thing, and it was fun to watch because they're talking about like Paige is sitting there going like, "Oh my god, I had abs back then. Like, what happened to me?" and like all this other kind of stuff. But it's weird to me that
Oh,
that's a show that they could have WWE backstage and just have like the 4 quadrant thing, and it's just like bookers in the fucking corner talking about champagne wishes and caviar dreams the way they normally would be.
oh, that's that Robin Leach.
So it's like that's
Sorry.
weird that they didn't do that, and it's good that they're doing it, but they're gonna do something this week. So tomorrow night we're gonna figure out some other kind of alternative to WWE backstage, but they're trying, and that's one of the things. It's like I want to give them credit; they are trying. Some things that they're
Yeah,
not doing all that well, some things that they're doing better than I expected that they would, but I still got to give them props to be able to do as much as they're doing.
how do you feel about that? The whole idea of people going, yeah, wrestling continuing on. Thank you, WWE. Thank you, AEW, for continuing and providing some normalcy. I kind of feel like, yeah, it's good, but, be safe still.
I think it's funny that, like, Jericho, for instance, he responded to somebody that was like, I don't know, I don't fucking like it that the Blood and Guts match has been postponed, and that's ridiculous, and they need to explain to us why, and whatever. And Jericho's like, do you see what's happening? We can't gather 11 plus all the people from, like, the crew and stuff. That's why. So get your head out of your ass and whatever like that. And it's like, yeah, that's true, because it's like, I feel bad saying that a segment sucks, let alone complaining about the idea that it's like, no, they shouldn't do this match with this whatever and that kind of thing. Because it's like, I don't know. I mean, a good portion of me is just sort of like, that's awesome that they're still doing these things. Now, they need to be safe. And if this is going to cause any issues at all to make this whole pandemic worse, they should stop because wrestling's not the most important thing in the world.
I agree.
But it's pretty cool that we can't get like, I don't watch like baseball and football and basketball and all that, but I know most people tend to, and it's pretty cool that wrestling is like the one thing that's like we figured out a way around it, you know.
Yeah, I like that it's continuing. For me personally, like I can remove my own feelings because I think like it plays off as weird to me. Okay, it does. It really does. Like it looks like we're trying to make this happen in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Because why is Undertaker still being a character? And we're gonna talk about that when we get to Raw. Um, I don't know. For me, it's heightened my sense of, oh my god, this isn't normal. This is weird. Please stop. But if you like it, more power to you.
I think that after WrestleMania, things may kind of change about that perception a little bit. Because right now, at the very least, I don't know if anybody else is, I am kind of thinking like, hey, they're trying to get through Mania, and I can completely understand that. And at that point, they're probably going, who knows what's happening? And they might shut down at that point.
I would not be surprised.
But at the very least, they're trying to get through Mania because it's their most important pay-per-view of the year. And it's not going to be Mania the way that it normally is. But at the same time, this isn't Backlash.
As soon as
And
we get people able to go in an arena again, we're getting WrestleMania. You know that, right?
no matter what, we're getting a big show because it's going to feel so good.
Because they're going to be like, okay, Goldberg and Roman go again. Taker and Styles go again, but now you're in a regular match. Orton and Edge go again, but in a cage. Like, that's basically what we're getting.
See, I don't think they're going to do rematches of WrestleMania. But I do think that they're going to want to try to put on a big show. Like, if you announce that, like, they can do Monday Night Raw, say, April, whatever, mid-April, and they know it well enough in advance that they can try to book something, I think they're going to be like, all right, this is going to be we're going to have every title defended, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be a super show and celebration night kind of thing, But I don't think that they're going to do just like, well, we're going to do those WrestleMania matches.
You never know.
It all depends too, because if we get something where it's like that they can't record any more episodes and we're just doing clip shows for a bunch of weeks, and we're talking that the next big live event is going to be in August, then at that point we're going to have no wrestling. So then if people get rematches, people are going to be like, oh, as long as it's anything, just give it to me. But that's all up in the air, and we have no idea what the hell's going on. So I commend them for their efforts. I commend them for doing what they're doing to get through this kind of stuff. And it does show some tenacity for future buyers, because people could be like, hey, WWE, we figured out a way to get around it. We should put some more stock in them. No matter what's going on, WWE is going to stick around, like that kind of thing,
Yeah.
AEW, same kind of thing. AEW has figured out ways to get around these things. They recorded a couple episodes of Dark, it seems. They're going to try to do this episode of Dynamite, and who knows what's happening after that point. But if they get shut down and they have to do some kind of clip show things, it's going to suck. And if they can continue to do shows, they're going to continue to do some good stuff. And I'm not hating everything that's on here either, too. That's the thing. Like,
some of it I feel is really good.
The matches
specifically
are like not too bad.
I've grown to love promos.
Oh, the promos actually bug me more than the matches do.
I like the promos specifically. You can tell when Edge is on the mic, when Randy's on the mic, when Cena's on the mic. These guys can cut a promo and make it believable. I feel like post 2010, if you're a guy in that ilk, like a Miz or a Sheamus or, one of those guys, you have a harder time cutting promos because you learned a different style. Like, I think their style became more play to the people, and we're going to have this wacky, like, super interactive audience that is going to just chant what and yes and Randy Savage. I think John Cena and stuff can get around that because they were trained to hype the match at all cost, and I think it's enhanced Edge's promos about Randy and Randy's promos about Edge and John Cena's one promo about Bray Wyatt. I thought it came off much better because there was no audience. The matches.
I think that the promo things, they're better when they're interviews, and they're better when they're video packages. The in-ring promos throw me off so much.
The matches throw me off because it's like, I don't know about you, Tony. I like Broadway. I like Phantom of the Opera, right? I don't know if I would want to see a live performance of the Phantom of the Opera on TV in an empty arena. It's weird.
Check out the Neil Patrick Harris Sweeney Todd.
Check out Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Check out Fanboys I don't know. As far as tonight's episode of Raw, though, to kind of talk about that and transition to that a little bit, I didn't like much of it. I didn't really hate much of it. Some of the stuff we already talked about.
How'd you feel watching the John Cena Brock Lesnar Seth Rollins match?
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Oh, you should have.
No, I didn't rewatch it. I was too busy with other things.
It's good. It's a good match. Holds up.
I don't even remember if I liked it at the time being in the arena.
You were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was real good. And I think I watched it back holy shit. There came a point after 2014 where people loved Brock Lesnar. They were all over Lesnar, man. They wanted Lesnar to just kick ass.
And then he didn't.
I think what ruined Lesnar was the Goldberg stuff. I think they played that too long, and I think it got too exhausting.
Well, they ran that. They reran Charlotte versus Asuka from Mania 34. They did an AJ Styles promo, the whole Boneyard match thing, where he's making fun of Undertaker's stretchy pants and bringing
All right,
up his Instagram.
stop right there. I have a huge problem with this whole feud.
You mean all of
And
it?
this is fans or no fans. I didn't like this to begin with, and I hate even more that they've continued this theme with no fans in the audience. We've just glorified and loved this idea of going, Undertaker's just a guy named Mark Calloway from Texas. We've just, like, when John Cena did that thing in 2018, being like, oh, get off your wife's Instagram then and come fight me. We haven't looked back. Why on earth, Tony, is The Undertaker continuing to be weird theater dead guy in front of nobody when the guy he's fighting has made this more personal than anybody before him?
If you believe the rumors, he was supposed to come down to the ring on a motorcycle and be more American Badass like. But if that's the case, why do a Boneyard match?
Undertaker needs to come out in full badass regalia and be like, yo, boy, I'm gonna whoop your ass. That would make so much more sense to me. You're in front of nobody. I get that you don't want to do like badass because the way you want to end your career is as a dead man. But right now, I see no reason that he should not be riding a motorcycle.
I wrote up an article about this, and I'll reference it. I wrote up a thing of, will this be the Undertaker's last WrestleMania match? And I wrote,
Impossible.
Absolutely not. Even if he can barely wrestle, he needs to wrestle at the next WrestleMania, because this is not the way for the Undertaker to go out. So at this point, as much as I don't like the American Badass thing, fucking do it for this one. This one doesn't matter, you know?
And then if a Boneyard match is buried alive match, have him bury the Undertaker alive, and then Undertaker comes back as the dead man, and you fight. It's that simple.
Have the broken, or not the broken,
the broken.
What's the BSK? What's it stand for again?
The bone skull.
Bone skull.
Oh no! Wait, hold on. The. Oh fuck! It's the last word is crew.
Yeah.
The Bone Street Crew.
Bone Street Crew. Yeah, that's what it was. So, you know, that's Bone. Have them come out. Have them be the ones that offset the
I don't want to see Savio Vega in a random
fucking that's what you
the
do.
Godwins,
you have
Savio and Rikishi.
You have Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows backing up AJ Styles, and you have Savio Vega and Henry Godwin backing up The Undertaker.
So, like, a straight up, just like gang warfare, like.
Yeah, let's do that. Why not?
Fuck. I wouldn't hate it.
Boneyard's ready.
Yo, take BSK.
So they did that.
Godfather's in the back with his hose, like.
Yeah, but he's maintaining social distance from all the hose.
Yeah.
Hosial distance. I guess, I don't know. So we did
Hosial distance.
We had since we have the Street Profits are going to go up against Angel Garza and Andrade, we had some stuff building into that a little bit. Angel Garza and Andrade beat Ricochet and Cedric Alexander.
I'm so glad you said that. I need you to look at Messenger right now. I'm going to send you this nasty ass back elbow in which so much spit flies from the mouth of Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, so I did not see what he's talking about. Let me see what's going on here. Tweet's unavailable.
What the fuck? Hold on, folks.
Technical
we're
difficulties. Here. Outside of the other technical difficulties that we had earlier when Rob's feed cut out. Now I'm looking at it. Wow, that is a lot of spit.
Yeah.
That's full on scene from Ghostbusters 1 kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that is fucking gross. Like you can't say wrestling isn't real. Like
Yeah, that loogie's pretty real. Um,
yeah,
that happened. Street Profits
that
beat
poor
Shane
ref. Look at the ref.
Thorne.
Look at the ref's face.
They beat Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink from NXT. So that's the thing. We got a Shayna Baszler interview with Charlie Caruso, and oh, by the way, the matches they're pretty decent, you know, for matches that are in front of nobody and a feud that doesn't exist and all the other things that go along with that. But
I love the idea of Andrade and Angel Garza going against the Street Profits.
kind of weird that the United States title is not in the mix, but at the same time,
Absolutely. But you know
I'm
what Selena Vega did say, and I have to get this in a WWE.com interview. She made sure to say, "You're looking at the first time ever United States champion and Raw Tag Team champion." So get ready for that, Tony.
first time ever. For the first time ever, the United States champion is teaming up with Angel Garza at WrestleMania. That's the thing, you know, it could be worse, could be better. I'm gonna have to adjust a bunch of article things about it, but at the same time, that's okay. The interview thing with Shayna Baszler and all that, Becky Lynch interrupts and hits her with the steel chair. Baszler was basically just talking about how she likes to destroy things, and this was basically as simplistic as they would normally do. I don't think that this was anything different than they would have done with a crowd.
Do you think that that truck Becky Lynch came in on last week was supposed to be her Mania entrance?
100%.
Pretty lame.
Yeah. And for some reason, people like that shit. People are just like, whoa, big ass truck.
She got a diesel truck.
She's
Where's
the fucking
Kevin
man. Like, yeah. Becky Lynch got that. She got that big truck on there. WrestleMania's the tits. Like, you know, like that kind of thing. This is the way that, you know, some people are. But I'm not a truck guy. I don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. So it's like, if Becky Lynch would have came in on a truck, I would have been like, huh, Becky came in on a truck.
Right.
Wouldn't matter to me. Same thing with the motorcycle stuff, like I mentioned before. If Undertaker was supposed to come in on a motorcycle, I think it's stupid. I did not like at all that Triple H did that more than once. I'm like, he shouldn't have even done it once, let alone twice.
Well, hold on. Undertaker is different than Triple H.
I don't like either of it.
Well, for Undertaker, it would be a return to an old gimmick.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't like any of that stuff. Like, to me, I always default to, you will remember me. Do you remember who that was, or is the song wrong?
I think you're going towards Chuck Palumbo.
Yeah. So you do remember Chuck Palumbo. He's right.
Hey, yeah, no, Triple H doing that entrance 2 years back to back, maybe even 3. I was not a fan of. Like he did the motorcycle when he went to wrestle Rollins. He did the double motorcycle when he teamed with Steph, and then he did another form of motorcycle last year. It's like he's completely just reverted to, I'm gonna come out in a motorcycle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's lame. So if that was their whole plan, we're not missing out on that. But we had Aleister Black beat Leon Ruff with a kick. Just one black
I like
mass.
the way he sold that kick.
That was funny. We had
Hey, did
Kevin
you know
Owens.
he's saying Lashley?
Yeah, because that's happening for some reason. Like if that would have been the United States title match or something, then maybe that would have been a little bit better off, you know? At least in that case, it would have been like Black wins the United States title for Bobby Lashley or something, you know? Like
I think he's gonna try to, get him to come to the side of the neutral with his no man is ever truly good, no man is ever truly evil. Clearly that doesn't apply to Lana, not only because she's not a man, but because she's evil.
Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins had a promo. Rollins says that the Performance Center was basically built on things that he created, and he wants to do the same with Raw. I wasn't really digging this promo a whole lot. This just kind of felt like
Rehash,
waste time, and yeah, they're trying to build towards something. I don't know where they're really going here because we're just getting a singles match. So at that point, I don't care, you know?
I think that there is something to be said for the fact that they have managed to keep this rivalry going for 5 months without a single one-on-one match on television.
Well, I
You
mean,
know
you
what that
you
says,
could keep
Tony?
anything going. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily good.
But do you know what that says, Tony? That they are clearly capable of doing it. And that every time you see 8 matches between 2 pay-per-views, it's laziness.
Well, this has been lazy too, because going into
Yeah,
this, all they were doing was saying, let's pair them up in tag team matches. So it wasn't like they were putting a whole lot of effort into it.
yeah, but I do admire the fact that they have managed to completely never once do a singles match.
And for the people that wanted WrestleMania to be postponed and pick up in a couple of months and just do Raw and SmackDown, my God, could you imagine if they were like, well, we're going to keep these storylines going until August or something?
Yeah, that's the hard part. That's why I think they're getting it out of the way now.
Yeah. That and just they don't want to budge too. It's like, well, we got through WrestleMania and forever in history it'll be like WrestleMania even went on during the middle of a pandemic,
I
like that
think
kind
it's
of thing.
a lot of it. I think is that
Mm-hmm.
that like, hi, it's our duty to entertain the masses.
Then we had the Charlotte whole thing, and then we ended it with Randy Orton accepting Edge's challenge for the last man standing match.
I love these promos. This whole feud has been, even without people, so much fun.
It's really such a shame this isn't going to be in front of a crowd.
It really should be. Edge's kid should be front row.
Like during the match for real this time.
Yeah, no, I mean like if we could have people, but like, you know, if this was a normal Raymond James Stadium, I would advise Edge's kids
Oh
be
yeah,
front row.
maybe they would be able to actually do that, even if it's in the performance center or something. That's this is not a really great episode of Raw, but I don't want to complain, like as I mentioned before, because it's still better than nothing. And I guess that just kind of
And
it is
something's
what it
better than
is.
nothing, as Booker T said.
Yeah. I can complain about WWE Untold Rodzilla Runs Wild because it's something that is not out of their control and all that. That was just a documentary thing, and I wasn't all that into it. I let me backtrack on that. It's not that I wasn't really all into that it was poorly made or whatever like that. It's just a story that I don't really care all that much about. So maybe I shouldn't criticize WWE itself for that because they produced it fine enough, but yeah, I've never been a basketball person, so the Karl Malone thing and Dennis Rodman and all that, it's
Are
just a
you
thing.
not? So I have a completely different set of complaints. I've heard this story before. This was an elongated version of a story that they've told multiple times. I wanted them to go into how in 1997 Rodman was contacted to WrestleMania with Goldust.
Hmm.
Like that would have been more fun. And then get into the whole, yeah, Malone and Rodman, and by the way, he had an orgy on the bus, which they didn't say that, but they implied it. Um, I I think they could have done a lot more with it. I did enjoy Rodman cursing up a storm and calling DDP a selfish fuck.
I didn't check out the Vice documentary on Chris Benoit.
I have not yet, as we discussed a little bit before we got on the air. The full 2 hour documentary will be on tomorrow night, which I guess is tonight, at 9 p.m. ish on Viceland. The first part is up on YouTube. It is very emotional. It is very sad. I will warn you right now. Deals a lot with the death of Eddie Guerrero. Be prepared to cry.
At some point, I'll check that out, and maybe we'll talk about that for another thing. But apparently, Tyson Dukes is playing Chris Benoit in it.
Benoit, yep.
Hmm.
He actually commented on it, saying that it was an honor for him that Benoit was actually the reason he wanted to be a wrestler. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna get into this deep rabbit hole because it's 2:30 in the morning, and why the fuck not? Some guy, he's actually like a reporter for Sports Illustrated. I apologize for forgetting your name, sir. said Benoit was. He said, looking back on Benoit, I find our whining at the time for him to be something more, essentially, comical. He was a mid card guy who should have never left the mid card because he had an inability to just play a human being on television. And he went on to say that basically, like, Benoit, like, I defy you to show me a good Benoit feud, and I defy you to show me a good Benoit match. And, like, listen, wrestling is subjective. I get it. But you're not going to sit here and say that Benoit wasn't a good wrestler.
I'm not.
What are your thoughts on Benoit?
Benoit was always entertaining, but never somebody I was super duper into.
I actually said I think Benoit is the reason we have a lot of stuff we have now, where he's just Johnny Gargano and he's a wrestler. What does he do? That's it. I think Benoit is the driving factor for a lot of that.
I don't know. To me, that almost comes off more like, well, Bret Hart was just Bret Hart.
No, Bret Hart was a little different. He bothered to put on like color coordinated gear and pink shades and have a little bit of like a I'm cool. Benoit was straight up like, I'm gonna walk to the ring and I'm gonna wrestle and then I'm gonna leave the ring because I'm finished wrestling. Like,
yeah, that's tomorrow night, you said?
yeah.
When that comes out, so I'll try to check that out depending on free times and stuff like that. But
Do you have Viceland?
Nope.
I will sit here and do a watch along with you. I will, like, I have no problem with that.
Well, we might do something like that, some kind of variation or something like that soon with something, because we don't know what we're doing for our main event. This current game plan was going to be wrestling with the past, talking about the Hall of Famers, yet we won't get a Hall of Fame, so why bother with that? And we have no other options that are
We could still
currently
fast.
We could still do that. We could still try to figure out some other kind of thing. Maybe we could do Wrestling is 2020. We could do Miss the Smark. And I'm not sure which day we're even going to do this, because we can do it on Wednesday, we could do it on Thursday, Friday, whatever it is. It's kind of up in the air right now. So in the meantime, if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see us do, drop in the comments below and tell us your thoughts on what you'd like to see. And if we end up doing some kind of a live stream test, then if you have the subscription to the YouTube channel and you've rung that little notification bell, that notification bell will tell you when we go live. And that is something that I didn't realize when we were doing that the last time we were testing.
Yeah.
So now I know that that's the case. And what we did the last time, and it's hidden, so you can't really see it. It's not like it's hidden for any particular reason, but we just kind of goofed off for a little bit, and we were trying to figure out some stuff with the streaming and trying to ask people, how can you hear us? And are we, is this matching up? Is this showing up pretty well and all that? So if you want to help out and you want to join in and talk about some stuff, then yeah, go ahead and do that. That would be great. And we might do that tomorrow. We might do that another day. I don't know, but stay tuned and you'll be aware of things when they happen, because when they happen, that's when they happen. And my plugs are out of the way, but Rob's got some plugs.
I do. I'm at Dude Felice on Twitter and Instagram. You can check out Fightful.com. You can check out WrestleZone.com. I'm sure the world of wrestling will change about 50 times between now and April 5th. So stay tuned.
And I think that's it for the hot tags. So thank you for listening to this. Thank you for any Patreon stuff, any likes, any shares, any follows, any comments, any favorites, anything that you do to spread the word or help us out. All that stuff's awesome, which means that you're awesome. And we will see you next time, everybody. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.